Hi, my name's Leo and I'm a boat builder and a sailor, and I'm on a mission to rebuild and restore the 108-year-old classic sailing yacht Tally-Ho. Now, I'm doing that project in the United States, but right now I'm in the UK. I'm here to see my family and friends and do some boat building work while I'm here to save some money towards the Tally-Ho project. And although it may not look it, it's absolutely freezing right now in the UK. So we're on our way to see Luke Powell, who is one of the most respected and well-known boat builders in the UK at the moment, really. He's known for his pilot cutters, and the project he's got on at the moment is massive. It's probably the biggest traditional new boat to be built in England for many years. Right, so I'm just coming into Luke's yard, and you can see Pellew in the shed and another one of Luke's boats just next to it, and we're going to go and see if we can find him. Good to see you.
I'm sticky.
That's
you
alright.
I'm not sure if that thing's on or off. Is that something on all the time, is it?
Yeah, basically.
Motor City is burned.
Sorry, Clyde, we've got BBC here.
Is that you standing there?
That's me in 20, no, 60 years time. And here is the
lovely.
heart shape on the top of that. There's no keel on the half model, that's just the planking. It will get finished. Anyway, that gives you an idea of the shape of the boat. But with
beautiful
no
lines.
rails on it.
Yeah. You drew this yourself, did you? Or
Yeah.
was it taken, did you manage to take the lines off and hold it?
No, when they were built, they didn't. They made a half model like this. Once they built the boat, they threw it away.
Right.
It just got in the way, they burnt it, got rid of it. So there was never a record kept of the hull shapes.
Yeah.
So I worked mainly from photographs and registration documents, giving the tonnage and dimensions. There was a half model that had been saved of a smaller boat that I took the lines off, also found with pilot cutters. So I had the DNA of the shape from the smaller boat.
Yeah.
This is a rebuild of the Vincent that was originally built in 1852. She was one of the longest lasting Falmouth pilot cutters, lasted into about 1924. We're building a copy of the Vincent, yeah. And we are going to call her the Pellew, after Edward Pellew, famous admiral that lived in this area. The only difference between this and the other one is that it's got a different date on its build.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's the same thing. There's going to be a few concessions, engine and things like that,
Yeah.
but electricity.
Oh, hey John.
Hello, John.
Yeah, of course.
There's only so many
You're wearing the
vehicles.
wrong jumper though.
He bloody
God,
is.
we
Yeah.
did shot for that run here, can you?
Just to wind him up.
Yeah. Wow, looking fantastic. That is a hell of a beam shelf. Well, it's all massive, isn't it?
Well, it's all relative, isn't it? I went aboard another boat over the weekend that made this boat look puny.
Is everything oak?
Everything's oak. The frame is English oak.
Right.
The deck beams are French oak, and the planking is Eastern European.
Okay. Is it easier to get that in long straight
Yeah,
lengths?
you wouldn't get oak in these lengths in England.
Yeah, the rig is going to be
The rig is going
just
to be amazing.
enormous.
Yeah, you'll see it and think, oh, that boat's not far away, and you realise it's on the horizon and coming fast, don't you?
Yeah. Have you got a launch date?
Spring 2019, so a bit over a year.
When did you start?
About a year ago.
About a year.
So this is a year's work.
And what sort of size team have you got on it?
To start with, there were only 3 of us, but we've built up now. We've got 4 young people working with us, learning the trade, and 3, including me, senior people, if you want. And the idea is that we build up a young team that, bit by bit, take over from the old boys as they fall by the wayside. And it's about sustainability. We want to create the next generation. There's a lot of boat builders my age that are heading towards retirement. Once they're gone, it's a shame if that isn't handed over to someone else.
What's the purpose of this boat? Why are you building it?
We've set up a non-for-profit company, a CIC, and the idea is that the boat is being funded by Brian, who set up the company, with a view to getting the boat working to earn a living, so that the boat can pay for itself, and any profit out of the boat's operations will go back into the yard, and then the yard will carry on building other boats. I think to begin with we'll do charter and then perhaps push towards sail cargo. The next boat we're building after this is going to be a cargo boat.
Okay.
We're building a fruit schooner, a Falmouth fruit schooner.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you got it planned already?
Yeah. This is
just the beginning.
Bigger and better. We've got to keep going. So it's more about a sustainable yard and an environment for boats to come to than the boats themselves. That way we can build a community of boat builders and slowly push back the tide of fiberglass. There's a lot of it out
big
there.
Tide.
But once they learn how to chip them up and make them into road surfaces, we'll soon get rid of them all. I think what you're doing is really important. Getting wooden boats to a younger generation.
Yeah.
Massively important.
And that's it, like the amazing thing that I've got out of this filming thing is the amount of young people or people in general, but like especially young people who've got in touch with me, saying that they're looking at buying wooden boats and they want to learn how to do it and stuff. And it's really inspiring. Yeah,
wooden boats have been held too long by old farts with pipes, and it's happening bit by bit. Greyhound is doing sailing cargo, getting young people on board, and it's becoming a vibrant activity.
Yeah,
and like what you're doing with your filming, just making people that maybe don't know about boats going, wow, there's a world here that's interesting. Yeah. This boat is only built because of the internet.
Right.
All our boats are, without the internet, none of them would have been built. So it's a strange marriage of old and new technology.
Yeah, so how many pilot cutters have you built now, Luke?
This is the ninth, I think it's the ninth new one,
Wow.
Yeah. And with Charmian, that was the first one, which was a rebuild. Spent 2 years rebuilding the thing. Spending money on buying an old boat and rebuilding it is not cost effective.
Alright, tell me now.
Yeah, but you're not doing it for those reasons. I was trying to create a sustainable business where each boat would finance the next. Yeah. And rebuilds won't do that. A lot of work goes into a rebuild. Yeah. Just as much as in a new boat.
Or more.
More. Yeah. And at the end it's only got the value of a boat from 1890s that's in good condition. Yeah. This is different when it's brand new and it's still on the slip, and you can charge extra value for the fact that it is a brand new boat.
I mean, it must have worked because you've just kept on building them.
Yes, it worked for a while. We didn't make any money apart from buying piles of wood and starting again. It's not a way to get rich, but it's a lifestyle. Yeah, it's paid the bills, it's bought the beer. That's all that matters. So this boat will become part of the local fabric, maritime world, and the next boat more so. Yeah. And the one after even better. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, so where can people find out about the project?
Okay, we're on Facebook, Falmouth Pilot Cutter Pellew, and we've got a website by the same name. See, it's a nice light now, look.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I'm putting in the bits for the bowsprit at the moment.
Yeah.
These are for the windlass. We're going to have a barrel windlass. And then these are the bowsprit bits, trying to fit them around everything.
And obviously that'll take the back of the bowsprit, which will stick out of the stem. Do you know how long the bowsprit's going to be on this boat?
I don't know. It'll be ridiculous.
Massive. It must be lovely to work on this project. I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah, it's great. It is great. It's pretty exhausting, but it is nice to be part of it.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll get to sail it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Unless it kills you first.
Unless it kills me first, yeah.
Well, this is Luke's own boat, Agnes, and one of the pilot cutters that he built. And it's a bit of a mess at the moment because they're in the middle of their winter season. They're doing lots of painting and work on the boat, but you can get the idea of what it's like in here. this your favourite job, Luke?
Love it.
Yeah.
No, maintenance is not my bag of chips, but
It's got to be done.
got to be done.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, today I'm going to be doing something slightly different again. I'm just going to be putting a couple of shutter planks into this ferry here. I'm going to be filling up this hole here between these two planks. I'm going to be putting oak in here because there's quite a lot of twist. Well, there's a lot of different ways of templating or spiling up a shutter plank. The way we do it here at the moment is by using these long battens, and we nail these along the top and bottom edges of where the plank's going to be, and then attach them all together with some pattern ply and some staples, and that gives a very accurate pattern for the new plank. A lot of boat building is just pattern making, to be honest. Such unusual shapes and curves. A lot of the skill of being able to shape a new piece of wood to a strange curve is just being able to make an accurate pattern for that shape. It does seem like there's a lot of wastage when you're cutting things out of big chunks of tree, but you have to remember that when you buy wood from a hardware store or a building supplier, all you're seeing is the squared up piece that they take out at the end, so there's a lot of wastage in that sort of wood production as well. Here it's just more apparent because, you know, what you get in the first place is basically a whole tree and you're cutting off the outside of the tree yourself. It's also inevitable that the more awkward the shape is, the less chance you're going to be able to use the offcuts, and obviously with boat building there's a lot of awkward shapes, such as knees or floors like I was making in my last video. Unfortunately they had to come out of the centre of those crooks because that was where the curved grain was. But the ends of those pieces will be used for blocks and so on. Same with this, we use everything we can, but the most important thing is to get the right grain which will make the boat as strong as possible. Now I marked all the bevels on the plank, and that's the angle between the frames and the edges of the planks above and below this one, and I marked them on these pieces which are the same width as the planks. Now I've got my template upside down because I'm going to draw on it the actual template itself, which will be the inside width, and then I'm going to draw the outside width on it as well based on the bevel distances. Then I'll cut out to the outside, and then I'll have both lines on the inside face, so I can easily plane the bevel in on the edge and take the inside face down to the original line of the template. Now because there's a lot of twist in this plank as well, I'm thinking about which way it's twisting and how that's going to work with the grain orientation. Alright, so here I'm using templates made out of pattern ply to check the concave curve of the inside of the plank on each frame. This is a power plane with curved blades fitted to it to take out that meat from the inside face of the plank. I check it as I go along and then use a hand plane with a curved blade to get a finer finish, and then finish it right off with a bit of sandpaper. Once I've cut the bevels on the edge of the shutter plank to fit the planks above and below it, then I've got to add the bevel for the caulking seam, which I'm doing here on the edges and the ends of the plank. The caulking seam runs a bit over half of the depth of the plank, and that is where cotton or oakum is hammered into the seam to be compressed in between the planks when the planks swell because of the extra moisture that they gather when they're in the ocean, ensuring that the hull is watertight. So although the plank will look very tight on the inside, on the outside it looks like there's a gap between each one. So the planks are fastened with rivets and screws. So bronze screws are driven into the stem and into the station frames. And then through the steamed oak ribs in between the station frames, we drive these long copper nails. Now, they stick out on the inside, and then later on, someone rivets the inside of them, which is another process which involves someone holding a weight onto the outside head of the nail, which is called a dolly, and someone else on the inside hammering the rove over the top, which is sort of like a washer but slightly domed, then snipping off the end of the nail and then hammering the end over to round over the rove, and that pulls everything tight, making a mechanical fastening. Here on the inside you can see the inside of the plank that I've just put in, and you can see the rivets which have already been riveted on the inside of the other planks, and you can see the nails which I've hammered through and a few others which haven't been riveted yet. And here you can see the plank having been partially caulked, so you can see the white cotton caulking in the seams between the planks and hanging out where it's still being put in. My little car can't make it up that hill. I just tried to drive up that hill and did the same thing as that van did, and slid back down basically. So it looks like I'm stuck here in the boatyard. At least I can get some work done, but a bit annoying because I quite like to go home and be warm. That was me nearly falling over. Well, that's it for now, folks. Thanks a lot for watching. Massive thank you to everyone who's donated or otherwise contributed to the Tally Ho project. Makes a massive difference, and I really do appreciate it. And it means I'm able to keep making these videos, so thanks again. And next week I'm going to be heading back to the United States. I'm going to be flying to the East Coast, picking up a vehicle and driving down to South Georgia, where there's a lot of timber being milled for Tally Ho. And that'll be a really interesting trip, and really interesting to see that happening, I think. Then it'll be straight back to Washington State to get back to work on Tally Ho, and yeah, it's all quite exciting. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.